Hi. I wanted to share something. I just was leading a meditation live on Zoom, and all of a sudden things started happening in my apartment where my husband was doing something. A package came and he was opening it, and it doesn't really matter what it was, but that it was super distracting to me. So I was trying to kind of stay in that mode, and at the same time I really wanted to let him know that I needed quiet right now to focus. And long story short, I was trying to mute myself, and I wasn't muted, and I ended up dropping an F-bomb during a meditation, and then saying sorry, and then just continuing the meditation, which was the weirdest experience of a long time. And I'm still thinking about this of how to process that, because it was not comfortable at all. I felt embarrassed, and a little, maybe more than a little, ashamed. Also, it was funny, and yet I was also having anger with my husband about how that all went down. But I wanted to share with you kind of how I'm processing this. So, the first thing is, this meditation was with a group. This was my beloved Flourish and Bloom collective, and even after just 3 months in this group, it's such a close, fun, sweet, vulnerable group that when the meditation ended, everybody was just laughing. And I could tell, it wasn't laughing at me. It was feeling with me of how horrible and wild that was for me to be experiencing that, and then also how it was for them to experience it. So there is that kind of okayness with it, and yet still I felt super shaky. I have 2 classes to teach in a little bit, and I just felt like, God, how can I even go on with this day? I just want to go back to bed and cry. But I'm not doing that. And so I want to talk about self-compassion a little bit, and just kind of my steps forward. So the first thing after the call was over, I noticed my shakiness. I wanted to talk to my husband, but I knew that I would kind of, it wouldn't be probably a very productive conversation, because I was kind of angry and embarrassed about what had happened and kind of blamey. And so I took a shower, and then when I did talk to him, I tried to not blame, but just to use it as a time to talk about how I hope that we can share our space, especially when it's the meditation time, because we're all dealing with how we share space, I think, with other people right now. So we had that conversation, and then I went on a walk, and you can see that I'm outside. I'm actually sitting in this tree throne here that someone created, and then right beside me, I'll see if I can show you, there's the lake, and then there's this big tree. And when I'm feeling shaky, I do like to come and sit with a tree, because it's I can feel it, the roots going downward. That trees are, they move and they wave, but yet there's a steadiness too. And so that's the way that I want to be right now, is vulnerable, soft, making mistakes, and also steady and resilient. And so that's one thing. I went on a walk and sat by this tree, and then I've just as I walked, I kind of am moving through the self-compassion the pieces of self-compassion. So with self-compassion, Dr. Kristin Neff, her website is selfcompassion.org. She has these 3 pieces of kindness versus judgment, shared humanity versus isolation, and perspective or mindfulness versus over-identification. So just working through those for myself in this case is really helpful, like steps. So the first is kindness, and just to let go of judgment as much as I can. I should have been better, I should have been nicer, more polished. Like, the kindness part of me says, yes, I want to be all of those things, and a lot of the time I am. And mistakes happen. This is an interesting time. Online teaching, sharing space. There's just a lot going on, and people make mistakes, and I'm one of those people, right? So there's a kindness there. I was doing my best, and it was what it was. So trying to offer myself the same kindness that the people in the group were offering me. And then the next one is shared humanity versus isolation. And that again really helped that I was met with such kindness in the group. But the idea that just like every person out there has done that, has sent that email out that they didn't mean to send, and it was reply all, and now they're seen in all their vulnerability. For me, you know, as a mindfulness teacher, I'm aware of my imperfections, and yet I'm also aware that I want to be like polished and calm, and you know, like really always modeling all the tenets. And so it was embarrassing to like just mess up in that way. And so it is also the tenet to be curious and to be kind and to be open and let ourselves be the way we are as we keep learning. So this is something that everybody faces. We've all done it, and we're connected in this way. And in fact, I do feel more connected with that group in that they see me in ways that I didn't intend to, but they see me more fully. And then the over-identification piece would have me, if I'm over-identifying with this, it means, yeah, like I just feel shaky in the next practice. Gosh, what if I mess that up too? You know, just like this day, that was one moment. This day is nothing, like I'm done. That's over-identification, to really zoom in and get narrow about this. And mindfulness or perspective has me say, okay, that was one piece, that was one meditation. There's more to me than that. There's definitely more to me than dropping F-bombs during meditations, right? And there's like a million other meditations and teachings that I've led that were more the way I intended to show up. And those count too, not just this one. And there's also more to me than my role as a teacher. I'm just a person. I'm like messing up and trying my best and having shitty times too. And so there's space for my wholeness, and not just this kind of mess up. So I'm still working with this, gonna be probably journaling about it, because I find stuff like this really interesting. Like, this is where practice is, where you it's not just what happens, but like, what do you do with it next? So I'll let you know. Have a good day, or don't, but work with it.